Welcome to the Explainer, everyone. Today, we're unpacking a really unique and honestly pretty profound perspective on our societal duties and the roles we play in the world. It's a fascinating philosophical framework that might just completely flip how you look at your everyday life and work. Okay, let's dive into this.
So, what if the career you have right now, the one you wake up for every single morning, is actually just a script given to you to study? Think about that for a second. According to the source material we're looking at today, our jobs aren't just tasks, and they're definitely not just a way to pay the bills. Instead, they are theatrical roles specifically assigned to us for our own spiritual education and growth.
The lecture essentially views life through the grand metaphor of a stage. The idea here is that every single person, the moment they enter this world, receives a completely unique life script. And it's not random. It's tailored exactly to the specific energy and talents you naturally possess.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it frames these different levels of society. Whether you're the president, a government minister, the spouse of a corporate executive, or a police officer, the lecture posits that these positions are not symbols of power or success. Not at all. They are actually study materials designed to teach us specific lessons. If you're handed the role of president, your task is to fiercely study the art of governing. If you're a corporate executive spouse, your script requires you to study how to support and lead within that massive infrastructure. To kind of bring this down to earth, the lecture points to historical entertainers. These performers were essentially conduits of culture. Interestingly, they were often given immense talent, but were deliberately kept economically poor. The reasoning presented is that if someone meant to study receives wealth way too early, they just get distracted. By experiencing economic lack, they were forced to focus entirely on their assigned scripts, whether that meant playing a beggar or a noble, immersing themselves completely in the study of human life. This brings us to a stark dividing line in how we approach our daily routines. The big question is, are you just a worker, or are you someone who is actively studying the world? Let's break that down. In this framework, a worker merely completes the job, collects a paycheck, and then just stops growing. They don't move beyond the basic requirements. A student, on the flip side, studies their role deeply to actually gain wisdom. The fascinating part is that, according to this philosophy, even a president will remain a mere worker if they stop learning. Conversely, a true student of society can eventually guide and advise even the highest leaders, offering wisdom that a stagnant worker literally cannot access. Let's move to the next concept and see how this builds into a completely new standard for spiritual awakening in the modern era. We're stepping far away from the old traditional idea of retreating to a mountain cave to meditate. There is a really striking dichotomy presented here between past and modern enlightenment. In the past, it took thousands of years of absolute dedication just to truly know oneself. But today, knowing yourself is literally just the starting line. The speaker argues that we now live in an energy-rich, knowledge society built on millions of years of human sacrifice. And because of that, we carry a much higher, much more active responsibility today. To navigate all that responsibility, the lecture outlines a very specific 5-step process. Step 1, know yourself. Step 2, realize your earthly purpose. Step 3, identify exactly what you lack. Step 4, study to fill those gaps. But it all culminates in Step 5. The ultimate goal is forming relationships to synergize with others. It's about complementing each other's strengths and weaknesses so that together you can live beautifully. It's not about isolated enlightenment anymore. It's about finding completion through connection. To illustrate just how refined and exacting modern society has become, the source shares a pretty funny anecdote about evolving beauty standards. Back in the day, legendary beauties like Yang Guifi were celebrated simply for having flawless, milky skin, totally regardless of their weight. Today, yeah, that wouldn't quite cut it. Modern beauty standards demand highly detailed, sculpted proportions, perfect symmetry, golden ratios, essentially the exacting detail of a statue. If Yang Guifi showed up today, she might be a bit surprised. But jokes aside, this really highlights how today's society demands a highly refined level of detail and intense energy in absolutely everything we do. Now, why must we study our roles so fiercely and attain this wisdom? Well, this brings us to the lecture's heaviest and most profound philosophical claim regarding our final life. So, the crucial point is that, according to the source, the top 30% of society faces a very unique spiritual deadline. We're talking about the top tier here, the intellectuals, conglomerate heads, politicians, and massive influencers. Because they have received so much energy and so many resources from society, the weight they must carry is entirely different.
For these individuals, the speaker asserts a very firm rule. There is no reincarnation. This is their absolute final life on Earth. They cannot defer their duties, their debts, or their mistakes to a next incarnation. It's a definitive message that once they leave this physical body, they do not get another chance to come back and try again. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate goal for those living this final life. To conclude their spiritual journey, they must exhaust absolutely all their energy for the benefit of humanity. They must burn their soul completely to become what the lecturer calls a holy fire. The idea is that only by leaving no debts behind and using every ounce of what you have to help others can you ascend purely as a spirit. Wow, that definitely leaves us with a lot to reflect on. Your daily routine might not just be passing the time. It could actually be the most important performance on a stage you will only visit once. So how are you choosing to play your final role? Are you going to remain a worker just fulfilling basic obligations, or will you step up to become a student who illuminates the world? We're going to leave you with that thought to explore further. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.